It's going.
Oh, yeah, nah, pretty good.
Thinking we should chuck a podcast. What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah, nah, I can. Come round, let's do a thing.
Hello.
Oh, how good. I think an introduction straight away is going to tell you the way things are going to go from the start. Like, imagine if you just went, hello, welcome back.
Hello.
How are you? Good. No, I think attitude plays a big part in an introduction.
Absolutely.
So
Perception is reality.
it is.
Image is everything.
Anyway, well, here we are, second episode. I tell you what, we recording this now. We didn't post the first episode yet.
Yeah, would have loved to be able to talk about how successful the first episode was.
Well, I've got some good news for you, mate. Turns out our first episode went really well. You know how I know how?
How do you know how?
Because whoever's listening to this probably listen to the
If
first
you made
one.
it to number 2, you probably heard number 1.
And I think that's a success. And going back to music from the first episode, I think with the way we see performing, it doesn't matter when you perform to one person or 100 person, as long as you get through to people.
Yeah.
So I think it doesn't, like Ryan speaks about quite a lot, that when the band had finished up, he was kind of okay, because at that point all he ever wanted to do was just kind of change one person's perspective on things.
Right.
And that was we did get quite a lot of people's perspectives on different things of how they lived their life, or if it helped them get through something. That was his goal, and he did it with his lyrics.
Yeah.
And well, more so like you as well, when you're a part of it. And I think that's a big thing. It doesn't matter how many people you get through to, but as long as there's maybe one.
Yeah, I agree. There's been a lot of people who talk about that if they change one person's life, that's still a life change.
Exactly.
And in particular, if it's from a positive influence. And I remember when we put out Blood Wolves, there were a lot of people that came to us and told us that record really helped them.
That blew my mind when that was happening. It was unintentional, but I was so glad that we did it. I think that is what motivated us to continue.
Yeah, definitely.
Like just one person just saying one thing, literally, like we changed one person's perspective, but guess what? When they returned the favor, that changed 5 perspectives.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I think
it changed us as much as it changed other people.
That's crazy. So, yeah. So, whoever by this stage has given us a bit of feedback, thanks. Because you're one person, but changed 2 people.
Wow. Deep. That's deep.
We're getting deep in this. Deep in this one already.
So we were coming up with ideas of what to talk about, and we decided on talking about tattoos.
Tatty talk.
Tatty talk.
So it's something that I don't like really doing. It's
yeah, you feel like a bit of a wank.
Yeah.
When you talk about you fucking duff stickers.
Yeah. It's like, oh, what do you got? Guess what I've got?
They're not painted on, mate.
Yeah. So something that gets brought up with me quite a lot, and it's unintentional, but today I don't want to talk about what tattoos you got, because to be honest, I don't care.
I don't care about what tattoos I've got, let alone anybody else.
Exactly. And but what I want to talk about today is why people that have tattoos. Now, I'm not heavily tattooed. I probably look heavily tattooed when I wear a t-shirt. But if I take my shirt off, my pants off, you find out I'm not actually that tattooed.
Yeah.
These are just, they're visible stickers.
Yeah.
Now,
you got some job blockers.
I got 2 job blockers, and when I open my mouth, there's my 3rd. So,
always quick.
But one thing that has happened this year, and we spoke about this in the first episode, is innovative things where we're allowed to go out in public again, and people have changed their way that they operate their businesses. And one thing, when we go out now, you have to scan in everywhere. Like,
oh yeah, the little QR code on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like that in itself is you've got my details. You know who I am. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not here to cause trouble. But how this goes back to Tatty talk. Now, recently, I'm, I guess, an advocate for the tattoo rule that we have in Queensland. I don't know if it's everywhere else in Australia, but it seems to be more definite in Queensland. And this year, I don't know if it was this year or last year, but I can't remember. But I did a post that I was pretty much just fed up with it. I think it's just a bullshit rule that you're not allowed into a licensed venue if you have tattoos. Well, not tattoos, but visible tattoos or offensive tattoos.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I just think that is a straight up dumb rule because on several occasions now, I haven't been allowed into a club. I've been denied entry purely because I've been assessed on the way I look before being let in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really difficult topic because it comes back to that thing. Um, it's like Martin Luther King. You judge a man not on the color of his skin, but the content of his character.
Yeah.
And although this is, I'm not equating it to racism, but you are being judged.
Yeah.
You are being denied entry to a place based on that and on no other quality. I can understand from the perspective of if you had visible gang tattoos, maybe
you can question it, but it's like let's go to my example for start. So what a post that I did last year was I was denied entry to a club. However, the week before I was allowed into this club. Now it's not a club, it's more of a licensed venue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go clubbing. I can't dance. I have 2 left feet, and I believe when you go out dancing, it's all in the arms. Now, when I went to this venue one day, I love going there, and I was having beers, having a great time, went out. I couldn't wait to go back there next weekend. In that time, a rule came into this venue, apparently, that you weren't allowed entry if you have hand tattoos or neck tattoos or face tattoos. Just, that's how they put it, is just no tattoos.
Yeah. Was it just if you had hands and the neck or above?
Yeah, I think
so. It didn't matter if you had arms if they were visible or legs if they were visible.
Some of these venues they say wear long sleeves if you got tattoos.
Yeah, well, that's been a Gold Coast thing for a while.
Yeah,
and obviously they had so much more of a bikey influence down there, and a lot of issues with violence on the Gold Coast. Like, it's probably the one place where I haven't felt safe, where I'm out drinking, it's just got that attitude, that vibe to it. But it is a case of its own.
Exactly.
Like, the Gold Coast is a very different area. I do remember wanting to go into clubs in Bali that had the same rule.
Oh, really? In Bali?
Yeah. And again, because of bikies.
Yeah.
Like, going in there causing a hassle. And because I've got one visible one up here behind my left ear. And so we had to take photos, send it through in advance, just be like, are you guys okay with this? And still got let in. But it is difficult in that situation where you're talking about, where it's like you were there the week before, there wasn't an issue, and now you've tried to return, and
all of a sudden I'm not allowed in. So how it came to me is that I basically was just blown up because, okay, previous to this, there's been times where Tanil and I have gone somewhere, everyone's been let in, and as soon as I get to the door, they say, yeah, sorry, you're not allowed. It's just like, I'm not even drunk or anything. I'm just fine. It's like, no, sorry, no tattoos, not allowed in. I was like, okay.
Because I've got some extra drawings on me.
Exactly. And apparently I'm going to go and sell drugs and punch everyone in the face.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just had enough of it because in the past, like, for example, Tanil's 30th, we went out on this boat, and it's like a popular boat. Everyone's dressed up. Everyone's just basically a social influencer, and they just, I don't know, wanking themselves off on this boat, I imagine. And anyway, I had to send in photos of my hands, basically to get approval that I was okay to go on this boat.
Yeah.
Now, I thought that was just bullshit in itself because I'm just like, why am I doing this? Because I'm apparently considered a bad influence on this boat.
Yeah, it's that thing of everyone being painted with the same broad brush.
Exactly. And I was just like, okay, if I'm going to post these photos of my hands, like, should I post my resume of like all the good things I've done in the list just to kind of even out? It's like, it's like, yeah, I've got hand tattoos, but guess what? Here's another things that I've done in life that make me okay.
Would you like me to send in a police clearance that I
pay
for myself?
And
you
yeah,
know?
so I just kind of I felt just to the point where I was sad. I was actually genuinely sad about it because I have become this inconvenience to my wife and our friends that when it goes to pick and choosing where we can go out for someone's birthday, it's like, oh, we can't go there because Liam's not allowed in.
Yeah.
And that's where I started feeling shit about it. And it wasn't just there. It was like at other places where we've gone out for like a work party and we've all got to the door, but I'm all of a sudden not allowed entry because of my hands. And it came to a point where whoever was in charge of the night spoke to a manager and said, oh, okay, well, we can't come in, but just so you know, you're turning away all these people that are about to come in and spend all this money.
Yeah.
Once you talk to the manager, it's like they check out my hands. It's okay, you're allowed in. It's like, okay, so this became a money thing all of a sudden.
Yeah. It's no integrity behind the rule.
No.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, I guess you're allowed in. You can get in, but just this once. Just
But
don't.
like, what are they looking for as well? Like when they check out your hand tattoos and go, oh, okay, that's acceptable. Like, what do you... What are you searching for in that case?
I know.
You know what I mean?
So
Is it just because it doesn't say "fuck you" on your hand?
straight up, that's basically what. And anyway, like I got fully assessed by the security guard one day. He's like, "What does it say on your hand? What's this?" I'm like, "It says live your dream." Like that's all it says. And I'm trying to live it, but you won't let me.
Investigate a rent-a-cop?
Yeah.
What do you care?
But that's it, and that's the thing. It's like I've got this random dude who's just fully assessed me, giving me approval to enter his paradise that is behind them doors.
He's a contractor anyway. It's
I
like
know.
he's got no affiliation to the club.
I know, and basically what he's straight up done to me before even entering is put me like well below him before I'm allowed in.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can get in. And then what's on your other hand? A rose. I'm sorry if that offends you. It's a flower. Anyway, so this has happened on time and time again where I'm not allowed entry, so we go somewhere else. Unless money's involved, we're allowed in. So, for example, to Neil's birthday, where I had to send in photos previous to where we went in, it got to a point where we had to spend X amount of money basically to get let on this boat. And that was just...
Those are the conditions.
Yeah, it kind of...
Spend a bit more money.
Like, I think that's why... If I was just going in just to by myself, it'd just be a straight up no. But when it gets involved into... This is how many people are going.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can bend the rules a little bit.
Yeah, they see dollar signs at
Yep.
the cave.
So, anyway... And it's also got to a point where people like try to be kind of nice about it. Like, would you be able to maybe you can wear makeup over it or wear a glove? I'm just like, you're still making me be a different person. Like I can do that. Yes, I can, but it's not me that it's, if anything, I'm going to be probably more angry getting on that boat
And
or in that venue.
the flip side of that is you're one of the nicest, most placid people anyone could ever meet.
But
and I'm not being biased. Like I've never seen you get violent or terribly pissed off or anything like that. And how many non-tattooed dickheads have you come across in your life?
Oh, it's incredible.
The more run-ins I've had with people who have zero tattoos as opposed to people that do.
Yeah.
But they can just go wherever they want willy-nilly.
It's crazy. But anyway, apparently, so that's a rule that I just don't agree with. Like I'm very quiet with my opinions publicly, but when it comes to I guess I can talk about this because it has actually affected me.
Yeah.
On a level that I can connect with. Now I'm not heavily tattooed, like I said. I don't have neck tattoos, I don't have face tattoos, but I don't judge people with tattoos either.
No.
And I think that's what we kind of got to get over. We're in this world now where I know you didn't want to talk about racism, but why do we discriminate against different types of people, but why are tattoos still okay to just blatantly say, no, you're not allowed in?
Yeah, it's strange, especially considering how commonplace they are now.
Yeah.
You know, previously you could get turned down for certain jobs for having them.
Yeah.
And now that it's so common and more accepted, it is out there, and there's just still this one weird, archaic rule. And I don't want to get into a whole, woe is us, first world problem situation. But it is just another silly thing that goes into the whole attitude of the world at the moment, is that everybody is looking at what divides us
Yes.
instead of what unites us. We're looking for all the differences that we can pigeonhole and not looking at the things that make us the same.
Yep.
And that's what's so divisive at the moment, particularly like the race issue in the United States. I mean, it's everywhere, but it's blown up again in the United States. And it's just, again, these cases of like us and them with
Yeah.
everything. And this is another one of those cases. And it's such a silly thing to discriminate upon, like race is, because I know plenty of white dickheads.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't make a difference what race you are. You can still be a fuckwit. You can still be a murderer. Like,
Yeah.
again, it's content of character, not color of skin or tattoos or sexual orientation. And I think that's why it's important to stand up to things like that, because it starts at tattoos,
Yeah.
and then where does it end?
Exactly. So I think I love the idea of how the world is kind of making these corrections where you shouldn't judge people on appearance.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago that people were paying out people for being gay. Like,
Yeah.
and that was just an okay thing. It's just like, what are you talking about? They're just like, we're all people. Why are they any different? So like, fortunately with playing in music, we came across a lot of different individuals. And to us, it never really mattered. Like, people came to our show that were different types of colors, different religions, whether they're gay or straight or anything like that. We did not care, because they accepted us for who we are and what we were doing.
Yeah.
So we accepted them, and it's just the way it works. And that's what I loved about the music industry, is that it's more so based on attitude rather than appearance.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. I
Yeah.
think we had a really good experience in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what made me change.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
not that I was a different way before, but I think I just wasn't in that environment with all these different types of characters. But music made me just more open, and I was just like, to the point where I have to say something to other people like, why are you paying out him for that?
Yeah.
Or, why are you paying out her for that?
Yeah.
It's like, we're all just people. But yeah.
I think an interesting side note with that is, to segue a little, is the fact that there's an attitude with some people that because they get tattooed, they're better than the non-tattooed.
Yeah, you've definitely just opened up a gateway of a train of thought for me.
Yeah, there develops this kind of elitism to it. And I just want to stress, because there's probably, or I don't know, maybe some younger people without any tattoos hearing us talk about this. Tattoos didn't gain me anything.
No.
And in your case, now you've experienced how they've actually disadvantaged you because you've been excluded. And like you mentioned, you know, now you feel like you're an inconvenience to your wife and friends. Even though nobody else believes that, but it's a personal feeling, and that's, you know, hard to get past. So to get this kind of elitist attitude, like, oh, I've got tattoos and you don't, so like I'm part of this club that you're not in, or something weird like that, is just total bullshit. Like, the fact that I had tattoos, like, maybe it helped our appearance as a band, but it didn't make me any extra money. It didn't, you know, get me to any higher places. If anything, I got turned down for a job once because I had tattoos, and that was against their uniform guidelines and whatnot. So if you've got that attitude, stick it up your ass.
Well, like I said, when in music, it was based on attitude rather than appearance, because people that had tattoos and came up to us and spoke like that.
Yeah. Straight away, you're just like, you're a Punisher, dude.
Yeah,
I'm going to hang out with somebody cool.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it basically, to me, it just comes down to your attitude. Whether we're going to get along or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you have those bizarre conversations with certain people that just don't have that social nuance, and they're just like, yeah, I got tattooed by so-and-so, like, check it out.
Like,
you're just like, I don't care, dude. Like, I want to talk about life. You know, what are you interested in? What are your passions? Like, you got tattoos, that's rad.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, if you've got money, anyone can get tattoos.
Yep.
You know?
Hey,
well,
even
as long as you're a certain age.
Yeah.
But
I was like, even if you don't have money, you can still get tattoos. But once again, that comes down to a different attitude
we don't recommend that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same. There are tattoo artists out there who act like total pricks to people because they think they're above, they're better than, and it's just like, you know, you've got great artistic ability, you've got a pretty cool job that you enjoy, but it doesn't make you better than anyone.
Nope. We're all the same.
It boggles my mind how people get these attitudes about it, and I just want to stress, like, getting tattooed doesn't get you anywhere faster.
No.
It doesn't add anything to your life. I did it because I fell in love with the artwork side of it. I fell in love with punk rock at a young age, and I knew from like when I was 11 or 12 that was a look that I liked. It was something that I wanted. I love the culture surrounding it, etc. But yeah, I never did it because chicks or for the image or whatever. That it was just a personal thing for me, and I've collected some bits and pieces over time, and some of them suck to be perfectly honest. Like, but yeah,
but they're part of a story, really.
Yes,
And that's it.
yes.
So yeah, back to when I wasn't let into this venue, I did a post about it, and at the time I tagged the venue because what happened was I was allowed into this venue. The following week, something happened in the in-between time. I wasn't allowed back in. So I was just like, I was pissed off about it. I was fed up. I'm like, nah, I need to voice something about this. So I said, this rule is dumb. Like, why are we getting judged in this day and age? Like, we've made so many changes with other things, but why is this still a thing at the moment? Maybe it might be the next thing that we talk about. But I would technically hate to see a bunch of tattooed people protesting in the street, because there will be some bad people in that.
Scary.
Yeah, we're all scary looking people, aren't we? Now, I wasn't allowed into this venue. It blew up because basically the whole tattooed community got behind it, but then as well as the people that saw my argument got behind it who aren't tattooed, because they might be like dating someone or married to someone or best friends with someone with tattoos who have felt the same thing before.
Yeah.
So they shared it. Basically, like, Tennille she's only got a couple little tattoos, but she's accepted everywhere. So she feels the forefront of what I have to deal with. Yeah. And other people out there still feel the forefront of what it is. So anyway, it got out of control, went viral. I honestly, unintentionally, didn't want to cause any drama to this venue. But this goes back to that attitude thing, that the people that got involved that were just full of hate, that just wanted to, they probably were never affected by it, but they just wanted to be keyboard warrior. They got involved. And I was just like, no, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
This is my point.
Because I remember when that happened, and I think I texted you about it because I was like, you might need to do a follow-up post, because it was turning very angry mob justice.
Exactly. And I was just like, you're not defending my argument here. Like, we're all meant to be good people.
Yeah. And because I even remember, so like you said, there were people commenting on it being like, yep, I experienced the same thing. It was really unfair. It really upset me. There were other people who don't have tattoos, but they just agree with the sentiment of not being discriminated against for such a silly thing. And then there were other people that were just like, fuck you, we're going to come there and shut your business, and we're going to firebomb them, yeah. Just absolute insanity. And it's again that thing of, because, when you comment like that on social media, there's that total distance. Yeah. It's like, you can say the most insane shit, threaten people, say crazy stuff, and you're going to face no consequences. Whereas, some of the stuff people have said to me or about me on the internet, if they said it to my face, they get choked out in the street. But that's the thing, is that there's no consequence to anything that they do. They just keep getting away with it, and it just keeps building. And that's why this social justice warrior and online bullying has gotten so out of control, because like you saw in that instance where you were just trying to go, hey, I feel this is pretty unfair, I'm quite upset about it. And then people took it and ran with it to an insane level. And while I feel the venue was in the wrong for instituting a rule like that, they still didn't deserve probably a good 60% of the comments that they copped. Oh, 100%. It wasn't a peaceful protest situation at all, It
was just, it was fueled by fire. There is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for said venue, the unnamed venue. That what happened was, one of the managers, he might have been an events manager or social manager, he contacted me. And he rang me up. He just wanted to clarify what the situation was and how I've been affected. Anyway, he wanted to know, did you get kicked out? Because he rang me up assuming, though, that I got kicked out. I'm like, no, it's just this rule that I'm talking about. I'm sorry that you guys are got in the forefront of it. That was
Yeah.
unintentional. And I was honest about it. I'm like, look, I'm just over this rule. And the fact is that you are a venue that I like going to, and you've now brought in this rule.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know the story because the reason how I heard about this rule was there was some people on Facebook that said, don't go here anymore. If you've got hand tattoos and neck tattoos, guess what? You can't go here. I was just like, you're kidding me. I love going here. So I did a post about that saying it sucks that I can't go there anymore. And he's contacted me because it's blown up. I just wanted to know the story. So I asked the story from this person that I knew. He's like, yeah, we all went there. Oh, I went there and a bunch of guys that I knew all got kicked out for having hand tattoos.
Right.
Now, I had to go into the story of what happened with the manager. He said that on this day is that tattoos are still welcome. Like, we don't have a tattoo rule. He's like, what are you talking about? I told him the story. He goes, okay, this is where the story has been fabricated and gotten out of hand. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, we do have a tattoo rule, but it's not walk in with offensive tattoos because of our patrons that are already here. I was like, okay, continue on. He said, on this day that has happened after you've been there, because it was literally the next day that I went in that this happened.
Yeah.
Apparently a group of guys went in and they were just getting rowdy or something, just having a few beers. They did have neck tattoos, and the security guards just come up, and instead of giving them a reason, you guys are too rowdy, get out. It's like, oh, sorry guys, there's actually a no tattoo rule. You guys are going to have to leave. They've used that rule to kick them out. Now, apparently it does say that there is a tattoo rule, but it's no offensive tattoos. You can't go in, like you said, with the word fuck you written on your forehead.
Big swastika on your cheek.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, like offensive tattoos, that's a different ruling, but you've put it down as no hand and neck tattoos, which literally like puts me in that category.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt this thing. So anyway, it's gone out and he's invited me down. He's like, come down, mate. I'll shout you and your wife beers. It's going to be good. He's like, mate, I'm like, look, this is all good, but it's just, I don't know if this is changing the rule.
Yeah.
This is kind of me giving in if I was to come down and do this. I still just don't agree with this rule. He ended up thanking me for bringing awareness to it, which was amazing.
Yeah, right.
So she's like, look, honestly, like, you've brought awareness to it. We know how to, like, deal with this situation now because of we don't want this backlash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, you know, this was unintentional. I didn't mean for this to happen. I felt bad, but at the same time, I'm getting a message out that I'm sick of.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, it's just unfortunate that they sort of cop the full brunt of it when it's like, while they were the venue in question, it is a broader rule that's out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that there are other venues in the valley that carry the same thing, that you can't get in there if you've got visible tattoos. They don't want you. So I think that manager in particular dealt with that really well. And if anybody knows the venue that we're talking about who remembers this instance happening, I walked past there over the weekend, and I saw people in there with face tattoos, neck tattoos, hand tattoos. So clearly they're not pushing that rule anymore.
No.
So I think that they've probably, come out the other side of it with a better attitude. Yeah.
So which is great. However, I've gone back there to the area recently to a nearby venue, and I went in, and Tennille was already in there. We had a reservation for dinner. I was like, okay, there's no tattoo rules in this area anymore. Sweet, we're allowed to go and have dinner. Especially in this day and age where clubs or venues have been able to open back up. I'm like, surely there won't be any drama where they're going to kick people out for having a hand tattoo.
Yeah.
I walk up to the nearby venue, and then basically the security guard just looks at me. Tennille's already down, sitting down there. I had to get something out of the car. I'm like, you go in because we have a reservation because everything's strict booking now.
Yeah.
Walk in, and straight away the security guard just goes, "No, you're not allowed in." I was like, I've got a reservation. My wife's in there sitting down already. And then he's like, "No, sorry, I can't do anything about it. You're not allowed in. You're not allowed hand tattoos." I'm like, wow.
When was this?
Literally like probably about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, you're kidding me. Like,
good Lord.
Anyway, I'm just like, straight away, I don't want to be a Karen. Who's the manager? Where's the manager? And I straight up asked. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so the manager came up to me. I'm like, hey, I am not allowed. My wife's in there sitting down. I've been told I'm not allowed in with the tattoos. I've dealt with this situation before with said venue down the road. She just said, no, it's fine. Honestly, it's a miscommunication. You're allowed in. Please come in. And I was like, had I known, like, you would have been allowed, I was like, I'm like, that's fine, but this is so awkward now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go in still because Tennille wants to go here for dinner.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I've just been this inconvenience once again, and I
Yeah.
hate it.
And you've been held up out the front.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But I've been
had to call the manager out,
Yeah.
cause a scene.
I had to, and I got judged straight away on my appearance before I even got in there.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we still need to work on this rule, don't we? But this guy, he's just doing his job. He's been told to do that. I think, you know, maybe if you're going to do that job, maybe just admit that part of your job sucks. That you've got to straight up discriminate before anyone enters.
Yeah. I guess in some situations as well, like, and I'm not painting with a broad brush here, but I have seen a lot of people working in that industry who just like are on a power trip.
Yep.
So it can be that as well, you know?
Yeah.
On one hand, it might be the guy going, this is the guidelines I've been told and I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's some people that get off on it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, not you, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the gatekeeper.
Yeah. Oh, no.
You know? So, all right.
Okay.
Whip it out. Let's have this measuring contest. Come on.
Yeah.
We'll get this asshole contest right underway.
Yeah. That's my theory on things. What's going on with the camera? That stopped. That sucks.
Oh, boy.
But maybe this is just going to be a...
Yeah, all right. Well, camera's gone out. But for the audio, at least let's wrap it up. What would be your advice for a youngster who's planning on getting tattooed?
If you want to get tattooed, just be aware that there is rules. Because when I got tattooed, these rules didn't exist. We're a bit older now.
Mm-hmm.
But when I made the decision to get hand tattoos, I think I was 24 or 25.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, these rules didn't exist.
Yeah.
So they are recent, and it's because of the bikie laws that happened a few years ago. But just be aware of maybe the bullshit that you're probably going to deal with.
Yeah.
But don't let something change from who you are. Like, I wanted to get tattoos because I like the look of them, but I always had it in mind since I was, a few years before that I wanted to do it. I still did it, but like whatever, it's not going to change who I am. I don't judge people for getting tattoos.
Yeah.
So just don't judge people. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Beyond tattoos, just don't judge people.
Yeah.
Just meet the world with love and respect.
Exactly. Like, it just makes the world a lot easier if we just accept each other on our attitudes.
It makes your own life so much easier, not carrying around the burden of just being pissed off at people for no reason.
Oh, no, just a quick story before we wrap up. My old neighbour next door, I think I remember posting about this as well, is that there was an incident somewhere up the road where some cops went over, and apparently the guy was like dealing drugs or something. I don't know. But anyway, she's a full-on like nosy neighbor. She's moved now, but the guy hasn't got tattoos. Now he was in trouble for something, I don't know what, and then she was talking to me about how good of a neighbor I am, and then I'm just like, oh no, like I don't deal with that stuff. And she's like, I know, and you have tattoos.
Oh wow!
I was like, yep.
You're a tattooed scumbag.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, I mean, I've had probably two instances in my life where a lady has seen me walking towards her and cross the street, walk past me and cross the street again. It's like, well, like I don't even look tough or intimidating. It was like it had to be the tattoos and only the tattoos. And I know that women live in a very different world to us. You have to have your head on a swivel, but like I wasn't even paying attention to her or anything. Like I just happened to notice. I was like, she's crossed the street, walked past me, and then crossed the street again just to not be around me. And it's like,
if anything, you probably would have helped her across the street.
Oh, absolutely. Like either that, or I would have walked straight past her, looking at my phone, and not even realized she was there. Like I'm not out to hurt anyone, particularly women, but so yeah.
I think just see it as art. There's art on walls.
Yeah. And what do you reckon? What I reckon is that if you're thinking about getting your first tattoo, personally, I would have gotten tattooed at the age of 18, but I held out until I was 21, and I think that was the best decision because I would have gotten so many tattoos about beliefs that I had as an 18-year-old. And when you're 18, you don't know anything. You're still a moron.
Yeah.
And at 21, I was still a moron, but at least I didn't have a bunch of these tattoos permanently in my skin about things that I no longer believe in or are no longer important.
Yeah.
And it also gives you time to find an artist that's more in tune with what you want. And you may get to the age of 21 and go, you know what, I actually don't want tattoos anymore.
Yeah.
So as old-timey as it may seem, like, don't do it out of influence just because other people have tattoos and you think it'll make you cooler or you think it'll make you a social media influencer or something.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Those things are obtained through other avenues of hard work. The tattoos won't affect it at all.
Yeah.
So for me, wait. Be sure about it. Be smart about it.
I tell you what, tattoos are cool and attitude's cooler.
I think we'll wrap it up there.
A good attitude, I should have said.
And that's what we reckon.
Yep. All right. Cheers, guys. Have a great one.
Catch ya.